Strategy number 7 for the top 10 cheat codes to a professional quantum leap in your business. And that strategy is being a Luddite is a lame excuse and a bad business plan. So, for those of you who are not aware, the Luddites were textile manufacturers, predominantly from British folks, but that's not terribly important. But when new manufacturing technologies for textiles were being put into mills, they were becoming famous for creating covert raids of the mills and destroying this new technology of various types, like looms and stuff like that. They were most famous for destroying looms. And so the name came from, interestingly enough, this is how things get turned around sometimes. I believe it was Ned Ludd was the gentleman who they referenced in their demanding letters to the owners of the mills. And Ned was famous for being a legendary weaver. And so with that said, this group of folks that were angry about the improved technologies and efficiencies within these textile mills were using Ned's name and referring to themselves as Luddites, as in fans of Ned and his master craftsmanship. And not to put down master craftsmanship, because of the fact that that's an incredible skill in any industry. But with that said, you cannot overlook the advances in technology. And so with that in mind, one of the strategies on the list from last week was this very particular strategy, which is being a Luddite is a lame excuse and a bad business plan. What does that mean? Well, it's interesting because of the fact that sitting down with many business owners over the last several years, and the more important thing is that business owners of all stripes. So the very young, 20s and 30s, all the way up to folks that are starting businesses in their 50s and 60s. And so in that, there are some folks that are starting a business, or professionals in general, who say, oh, technology is not for me, or I can't get behind that, or I'm no good at technology, or something like that, or just, oftentimes, even though they don't realize they're uttering it, they're saying essentially, I'm not going to do this because we've always done it this way, which are the 7 most expensive words in business. And it's put a lot of companies out of business. And so if you're not aware, if you look at the Fortune 500 from 1955 through 2018, there's around only 10% of the original Fortune 500 that are still in existence and on the Fortune 500 list. And so with that in mind, these individuals, professionals and business owners alike, who are essentially dismissing technology and force multipliers and stuff like that because either they're unfamiliar with it or they're against it or something like that, are really just hamstringing themselves, either knowingly or unknowingly. But there's always something that they can do to be consistently improving. There's a lot of technology out there that can help. And so it can be anywhere from speech to text to video capture to different softwares that can make bookkeeping faster. It can be 3D printers to do rapid prototyping, you name it. But this is a message for the folks that are of the older Gen X and baby boomer generation that are still in the workforce, that may be dismissing the idea of technology. Is you just can't get around it. And there's so many benefits that technology can do for a business owner and for a professional. And if you're a professional and you have a job, you certainly can't just dismiss it unless you are really close to the end of your career and can just kind of skate into retirement, because of the fact that companies are no longer allowing it to be an excuse. It's now pretty much a given that regardless of your age, that you're going to have to know something about technology. And if you don't, you're going to learn whether you like it or not. And so with that in mind, I'm not trying to shove technology down anybody's throats, but here's the thing: the adaptable seem to be able to come back from the biggest setbacks. And so whether you've been laid off, whether you've had a business go sideways or south for whatever reason, if you are intentional about consistently learning and applying new efficiencies and stuff like that, I think you can go a long way to coming back from the biggest setbacks. And even if you haven't been set back, you are going the right way for a setback if you're dismissing the benefits of various industries that have come along over the last several decades, because it is remarkable. It's certainly scary if you don't have a lot of experience in technology. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like anything else. You just, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. How do you learn technology? Well, you spend, start with 10 minutes a day on it and just learn a little bit, read some articles, think about how it applies to you in your industry and how you can leverage that technology at a very, very basic level. And over time, that start with 10 minutes, bump it to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, demo some products, think about how those can apply to what you're doing professionally. Again, whether you have a job or you own a business, but just outright dismissing it unless you're already retired and you didn't have to deal with technology, or you're close to retirement. It's not a sound way to go. And there's so much benefit that you can take home from the standpoint of business and applying different efficiencies. So we'll talk a little bit more about some of those efficiencies in a future live stream. And I don't want to belabor the point and draw this out, but try not to think about how it's going to take your job or something like that. There are some jobs that have been automated at this point, but it's not like Revenge of the Robots yet, and the automatons that are going to come and just kind of take everything that you've had as a career. So anyways, I think I'm going to restart this live stream. It's not quite what I want it to be, but if you're stopping in, hopefully you got the message.